So hi, it's Fiona here from Amitié Lane, and today we have Paul Dunn from B1G1, and today we're going to be talking about giving and how giving leads to happiness. So hi Paul, how are you?
Hi, and what a great topic. I'm really well, thank you, and thank you so much for all that you do in Amitié Lane, and thank you for inviting me into your world too. Very thrilled to be here.
Well, Amitié Lane, as you know, is a business that provides gifts for girls, and giving is a really important component. And for me, I'm really passionate about the idea of giving, but really what giving means. It is a very innate thing that we as humans want to do. And I know that this is something that's in the core of who you are.
Yeah, there's all sorts of studies which would suggest that it's in our DNA, right? That we really need to be doing that. But what I know is that it's, and I hope this sounds the right way, that it's really self-serving to do it, because, and let me give you a simple example. Right here in Singapore, right outside my condo, there's a bus stop, which multiple buses stop at. It's just amazing to be here in Singapore, as you know, because, the public transport is like unbelievable, right? And so when I get on the bus in the morning, usually the bus, I always get on and I say to the bus driver, I just look at the bus driver and say, hey, thanks for stopping. Just that simple little thing, right? And then when not surprisingly, and by the way, people look at me and go, whoa, what was that, right? Yeah. And then when I get off the bus, I'd say, hey, I just wave in the mirror and say, hey, thanks, and stuff like that. And what's so interesting is, I feel better doing it. It's so much better than getting on a bus and go, oh, I'm on a bus, right? So I feel much better about doing it. And the bus driver's like, oh, well, that's really cool. That sort of thing, right? So we all feel better. And I, that I think is the underpinning thing. But then when we can ramp that up a little bit and recognize that, those of us who, can get up in the morning and have a hot shower and, can have a cup of coffee or whatever, right? There are people in the world who can't do that. And who can't go to school, who, all of those sorts of things. And so I think that we have a deep obligation to give in that sense as well, provided we're very careful about how we do it, right? That comes back from that whole concept, doesn't it? Which is this whole thing about we all are one. What I do to you, I do to me, right? It's that sort of thing. So being able to put giving and at the core of what you do is, I think, really important, because I think all of us, and this is kind of like a long answer, but there's lots of different reasons for it, right? So I think all of us, Jeff Bezos was he of Amazon, right, was asked pre-divorce, he was asked, so Jeff, what advice do you give your marketing department now in this age of disruption? What advice do you give? And Bezos looked at him and he said, well, I give him the same advice that I gave him on day one. And the interviewer said, so what was that? And he said, search for that which is constant, which is kind of like counterintuitive, right? Search for that which is constant. And the interviewer said, like what? And he said, well, the human need to belong would be a good place to start. And I think all of us need to belong to something bigger than ourselves, right? And when we implement, just like you're doing in Amitié Lane, right? I mean, it's, yes, you're doing these wonderful gifts that you do, but at the same time, I actually checked out this morning before we came online. You are now up to a staggering 3,000, very close to anyway, 3,000 giving impacts in our world. And those impacts range from all sorts of different things. And, so there are lots and lots of great reasons to do it. I mean, yes, it makes a difference. And most people think, oh, it's all about making a difference to the quote unquote beneficiary. But when we need to move to is this making a difference to us?
Mm.
That's the crucial understanding.
Mm. The thing I love about all that you're talking about, Paul, is that often when people think about giving, they're thinking about the giving of a gift or, an exchange of a physical item. But, what we're talking about today is, as humans, when we give, it could be the giving of a compliment. It could be the gift of, education for somebody else around the world who maybe can't afford it. And I guess that's, for me and for you and for a lot of people around the world now, it's really important that we do see giving as something that we just do naturally in every part of our lives.